Hello and welcome to SIMRADIO here on the Sisters in Music Network. It's Monday Music Madness and you're tuned into Mixing It with Nicki Kris. This is Nicki, and in case you don't know anything about me, I'm a singer-songwriter from Raleigh, North Carolina. My show celebrates women and men in the music and entertainment industry, providing an avenue for them to showcase their talents. Our motto, Sisters in Music, together we are stronger. My guests today are the creators of Sacred Circles, a group renowned for their mantra music that has resonated globally since 2004. Over the past 2 decades, they have cultivated a dedicated international audience, earned accolades from dignitaries worldwide, and achieved chart success in numerous countries. Their mission has consistently aimed at making a positive impact through their music and various projects. Please join me in welcoming vocalist Holly Fischer and composer Phillip Kanakis. Welcome to Mixing It, Holly and Phil. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure, and I'm really excited to share you and your story with our listeners. So let's get right to it. One of the first questions that I would like to ask you, and Holly, I'll ask you first, how did you first get involved in music, and what drew you to the genre of mantra music?
Well, that is an interesting thing, especially that last part. But to answer your first part first, how did I get into music? I dabbled a little bit with piano lessons. My mom was teaching me at first because she plays, and you know, I kind of stuck with it for a little while. But I was very interested in singing from a young age, and I didn't really do too much with that in terms of really trying to make a go for it, other than just recreationally singing along with songs on the radio that I enjoyed. But once I grew up a little bit more, I found myself just singing in group settings where I would often go to a particular group, and there would be a portion where it would be musical and different people could take turns singing. And I actually really didn't think my voice was really all that magical or anything like that at that point. I thought it was pretty average, but I had taken some vocal training lessons, and I just didn't realize how much of a difference it had made at that point. And so when I started singing, the people's eyes kind of bulged out, and I kind of thought to myself, like, oh, maybe my voice is even better than I had thought, which helped me gain in my confidence a bit to do it some more. And I heard something one day. It was some piece of music that I heard, and I don't even remember what it was. I think it was like a pop-type song, but somebody had mixed in, like, some of the background vocals. They were singing Om, which is, sometimes a sound that's from Hinduism or Eastern philosophy. And so they had this Om thing going on in the background, but that wasn't the main thing. Like, the main thing really sounded kind of like some pop song. And it gave me the idea, it sparked this idea to take this mantra that is one of the most famous mantras. It's I've heard it's the oldest on the planet. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that about it. But at least it's probably one of the oldest. And I got this idea, hey, what if I could find a composer that would be interested in working on this type of idea? I would really like to take that mantra and have original melody put to it and make it kind of like a song. So I was kind of wishing to meet a composer that would actually be interested in doing that for a couple of years. And then one day I met Phil, and we got to talking, and it turned out that he actually had the same idea with that same mantra. He had written the melody for it and recorded it, but he never, the vocalist with the resonance of the voice that he was imagining. And so he kind of left that vocal part off his recording for 2 years. Yeah, he had recorded it 2 years before we met. You had actually gotten the idea 4 years before we met. So he actually had the idea 2 years before he was able to record it, which was 2 years before we met. And I had the idea 2 years before we met. And I didn't even know if it would come true. Like, I really didn't know if I would really meet this composer that would do this with me, or if it was just this dream I would have. So as we got to talking, we ended up finding out that we both had wanted to do this. I ended up finding out that he'd recorded the music. Of course, I didn't know if my voice was going to be the magical voice that would fit. I'm not saying that my voice was magical, but I'm just saying I knew he'd been waiting, and I honestly didn't really know if he would really like my voice. And then it just happened to be that I sang a song that night and I had no way of knowing this, but it just turned out that the note configuration was somewhat similar to this melody that he'd written for the mantra. And after the thing was over, he came up to me and he said, he told me that, and he said that I actually had the right voice. It was the voice he was looking for, which honestly, I didn't really know how impactful that actually was. I wasn't even really sure how deeply he really meant that, but as I've been with him for, I think, like 22 years now, I've literally seen him get an arrangement idea, and he'll wait years to actually hear the right frequency in a voice of someone, and then he'll say, that's it, that's the voice I've been waiting for. And I also was talking to him at one point, and at the time that he had gotten that melody idea, he was really going to college, and he was around all kinds of music people, all kinds of vocalists, and even after college, he was surrounded by all kinds of vocalists. And so I was able to put it in perspective a little bit more that he really had heard a frequency for that mantra, and my voice really did match it. And I understand that more thoroughly now with just seeing what he does.
That's destiny.
Yeah, actually, I've come to really realize that more recently, because honestly, I didn't even have some of these conversations with him until recently, when he has had an arrangement idea for redoing a particular piece of music, and he recently heard someone who has the right frequency, and I was putting it together, and I'm like, he really had this arrangement idea 10 years ago, and he just recently heard somebody, and it was on one of their recordings, and it was just the way their voice was, and the note configuration on their recordings mixed with the tone and the frequency of their voice, and he was all, that's it. I don't know if that person will want to do it with me, but after 10 years, he's actually finally heard this frequency in this one person that would match it. And that's when I really started asking. It was really in the last couple of months. I was like, well, let me actually just ask you more about, the voice you were really trying to find for this mantra, because I think I took it a little bit lightly when you told me that I had the right voice for it. I don't think what that actually really implied. And then we started talking about what the reality was for him back then. And it's like that he had so many singers available who would have been happy to do it, but it just really put it in perspective.
That's awesome. I love that. I love the little story about how you were finding your voice and then how the two of you met. And Phil, I know you and I have talked previously, but for those listeners who don't know anything about you, would you like to give us your little elevator pitch on how you first got involved in music and what specifically drew you to this particular genre of music?
Well, I started music when I was 3 with lessons, and then I continued over basically my whole childhood. And then I started writing when I was 14.
12. You told me, actually.
Sorry. That was my first song. 12.
He keeps mixing up the ages. Like you told me it was 12. I keep hearing
it was 12. Yeah,
you're funny.
It was 12. I wrote my first song when I was 12, and I've always been drawn to using music and my talent for healing. I've been around the Indian mantras basically my whole life. And I had always wanted to do something with that, knowing just the power and the healing involved with it. And so that's basically how I started within that. And it's again just an extension of just using music for that healing aspect and doing something a little bit different out there than people have done.
Yeah. We always have to have a little bit of a twist, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the twist is very important because it does give you an opportunity to separate yourselves from everyone. And I know listening to a lot of the music that Phil has worked on, he does that consistently. He always does something in his compositions that are very unique and sets him apart from everyone else, which makes the music stand out. So I definitely think that that's very, very important. And I do know that Phil does that very, very well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's awesome
You're
that you
welcome.
recognize that. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually grateful just to hear you say that, because some people do recognize that, but other people don't. But we all probably have that within whatever our talents are, whatever. We have those that really recognize it, and then those that don't. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So you did mention a little bit of how the two of you first met and began collaborating. What was that like? Because I think at that point in time, Phil, you were in New York, and Holly, you were in California. So how did that work?
So throughout my later part in college, I was going back and forth between LA and New York at different film studios. After I graduated college, like maybe about a year after that, I decided to go out to California. It just happened that like Holly and I had this mutual friend. We didn't realize, we didn't know each other, but we had this mutual friend, and I didn't know anybody in LA besides him. And he invited me over to like a get together that they were having in Pasadena, I think. And it just happened that Holly was there too that night, and that's how we met and got started talking. And then ever since then, we've just been together every day.
Because my schedule was so crazy then. I swear every day from morning until like later in the day when I'd be tired was booked. Every Monday looks the same. And I'm not saying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday were the same as each other, but like every Monday was the same as every Monday, and every Tuesday. Anyway, it was all booked. So I was so excited to meet him. I'm sure you can imagine, after wishing for this person for like 2 years, right? And I wanted to get together, and I kept saying, yeah, we should get together and work. And he said, well, that's what I'm here for. That's what I came out here to do. But I was so busy. My schedule was impossible. There was no space in it. And so we kept going to the same gathering because it went on a weekly basis. And so I would go there the next weekend. He would go there the next weekend. And we would talk after, and I'd say, we should get together. And after 2 weeks of that, he said, well, you keep saying that. And that's all he said. And I just was quiet because I was like, yeah, he's right. And then I thought, well, what am I going to do about this? Because as long as I have my schedule the way that it is, I'm not going to have time for it. And yet I have wanted this for so long. I don't even remember what I cut out first. And it's not like I made a permanent cut, but whatever it was that I did on whatever day it was, I just I bowed out of that particular standing thing so that I could go meet him. And just start to practice together and start talking and start to figure out like what we really wanted to do. And then he was teaching me the mantra with the melody that he wrote, and then we were practicing that. And what I started to notice is that like I was just really peaceful around him. But I know Phil has something to share on this also. So.
And at the time, I didn't really have a piano to practice. So I didn't know my way around LA. So Holly would come with me to different piano stores. I would practice, and then these songs would come out. So she would be there recording me. And then we ended up using some of those melodies for our first chance that we did together. Yeah. And we just started it, and
yeah, that was so fun. There was all these different piano stores, and we didn't want to be totally annoying to go to them too frequently, like one over and over. So we would make rounds. Like one day we would go to one, and then another day we would go to another one. And I think there was maybe 4 of them, and then we would go through all 4, and then we'd come back around again. It was cool.
You guys are too cute.
Thank you.
With that, this is a great place for us to take a short break here from a word from one of our partners in podcasting. This is Chatting with Nat, and we'll be right back on Mixing It with Nicki Kris on the SIMRADIO network.
Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. we host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard.
And we're back on Mixing It with Nicki Kris on the SIMRADIO Network, and my awesome guest, Fisher, and composer, Phillip Kanakis, otherwise known as Sacred Circles.
Yay!
One of the things that I would like to talk about is how your journey as musicians and creators with Sacred Circles has evolved over the years. Do you have a particular memorable milestone, maybe individually or the two of you, that you would like to share as well?
I could think of a couple things. There's a guy who is a fan of ours, and he's currently the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, and he was the president at the time. And he became a fan of ours while he was still the president. And it was shortly after our album In the Company Amongst came out. I don't recall how long it had been out, but it wasn't really a terribly long time. And he was actually instrumental in having that album played throughout the whole land of Sri Lanka. In fact, I believe, it's my understanding, that the first day that he had it played, it was on Gautama Buddha's birthday, and that he had it played on all the radio stations across the whole entire country at the same time. And that's pretty cool. And, you know, I didn't even have a fantasy about anything like that, like at all, like any of that, like any part of that. Just even someone like that becoming our fan, let alone doing what he did with the radio stations. I mean, it's pretty amazing, and not in my wildest dreams that I ever think that we would have dignitaries become fans. But also at that same time, I can't remember which one was the president or the prime minister, but there was someone of Malaysia and Thailand, and they became fans too at that time.
The president of Malaysia and the former prime minister of Thailand.
He was the prime minister at the time.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, they were all in office at the time that they heard the music and became fans. So that was like so exciting for us, and then of course we started getting the chart statuses, and that has been really exciting too. And
actually, last year after Aquarius Rising was released, I had seen so many people like post things about song stats, and I didn't know anything about that. So I joined, and then I started investigating just what we had done with Sacred Circles, and we had been charting all of the time, like on different charts throughout the world, like 20 years later. And so that was really interesting to see. Just like last year, we were number 5 in Malaysia for In the Company of Monks, and it had been on the charts for I think something like 17 or 19 days or something like that. So it was a good 3 weeks. But I guess that would be a milestone for me, because just realizing just 20 years later that same album is just still on the New Age charts is just pretty incredible.
Oh, that's fantastic. Congrats.
Thank you. That was just another surprise.
Yeah, but those are good surprises, right? Those are definitely really, really good surprises. And I was going to say it is one of the most wonderful feelings, regardless of what genre of music that you do, when you know that people all over the world are listening to your music. You know, I mean, now with a lot of the analytics tools that they're coming out with that a lot of artists can use. I mean, even if you go on like Spotify for artists and things like that, you can see where your listeners are. And it's always something that surprises even me when I look at where people are listening to my music. And I'm like, really? Oh, wow. Hey, that's really cool. So I can certainly definitely relate to that accomplishment.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm glad that you're having that too. And yes, you're right. Those tools, have made it, I guess, rewarding, right? Because we can see that type of stuff. And, I don't think that some of that was available at the time that those albums came out. I mean, right, like digital sales were, like on, iTunes and stuff like that. But yeah, some of this other stuff is newer. I don't even know when some of it became available, but it does make it very nice.
Yes, it certainly does. Okay, well, before we play the beautiful song that you brought with you, let's talk a little bit about it. Would you like to give us some insights into the latest release, Prayer for Peace? It is absolutely breathtaking. I'm going to say that before we even play it for everyone, but I'm being biased, of course, because I know you guys, I know several of the individuals who participated with you on this particular project fired it. And what do you hope listeners take away from it?
So for Prayer for Peace, we wanted to do something really special because we realized that it's been like 2 decades basically since we started working together and started to actually release our first album, and we had wanted for so long to do another release, and it just didn't come out right. And we've tried like maybe 7 or 8 times to put like a new album together, but it just didn't feel right. So we kept on scrapping it and scrapping it and scrapping it. And I really wanted to do a reimagined version of Prayer for Peace this year, but I was a little bit stuck within just the direction to go. I had a lot of the music built, but there was just a piece of it that was just missing. And it was after Dimitris and Natalie released Receive Me that I could hear something within the No combination where I really thought that Dimitris would sound really good with Holly. Like I could hear and envision just different parts, and then I was like, Holly, let's turn this into a duet. And I was like, wouldn't that be really awesome to just do an imagined version of this song as a duet? So I approached Dimitris and asked him and told him about the project, and he was all in. He had mentioned to me that he has wanted to collaborate before, and so
with you.
Yeah, with me. And then I had with him, and, this was just really a good opportunity. And so we were talking about it. I got to hear his voice a little bit more, and then I was like, the outro, like, it needs something else, and it needed something else for the other parts of the song. And then I thought about Nita, and I could hear her voice in that as well. And I was like, let's just do it up and just make this epic version to just kind of like relaunch Sacred Circles after all of these years. And like it was such a pleasure working on the song, and the experience was just so outstanding. And like it's seriously one of the like better collaborations that I've ever really worked on, and it was just so much fun.
Definitely.
Well, like I mentioned, the song is absolutely spectacular, so we are going to play it for everyone. So without further ado, this is Prayer for Peace by Sacred Circles. Like I mentioned, this song is so beautiful. It's soulful and reflective. I love how you've blended the acoustic instrumentation with these powerful, heartfelt lyrics. The song is definitely going to resonate with people. I love the fact that you've really focused on unity and hope with the words that you've chosen with this particular song. Something that we really need right now. I'm just going to emphasize that. You know, it's got these like really calming melodies and a soothing rhythm, very meditative atmosphere about it, but it's also something very relatable. And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful collaboration. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate all those kind things that you said.
Absolutely. What is the feedback been? You know, it's been out for a little bit. What type of feedback have you been getting?
A lot of praises, a lot of good feedback.
It's been very positive.
Yeah, people are blown away by the arrangement and all the vocal parts, and just the overall message of the song. So we wanted to just build upon what we had done before with our Sacred Circles material, where it would still have that kind of healing type of effect. I mean, obviously this isn't total sound healing music. There's different levels of that can be helpful to a person, and some of it is so intensely sound healing, and this isn't exactly at that level, but we still incorporate the sound healing elements for people, so that there can be an experience if people tune into it and if they kind of sit with it and maybe close their eyes or whatever. It just kind of relaxes their mind and then their bodies. And then, of course, the point is really to turn people's attention to peace right now, because it would benefit us all and the planet to be focused on peace and to be really in a space where not only are we turning our focus on that, but just getting into a space where we could be emanating that more within that emotional state from our hearts, because there are studies that have been done where they have measured, they have gadgets apparently, and I haven't seen one, but I've heard about it, where they can measure, I believe it's the electromagnetic field of people's emotions emanating out from their hearts, and the devices can measure up to 1 kilometer away, but their belief is that the emanation actually reaches out possibly indefinitely. And what they have found is that what someone's emotional state is as it's radiating, it touches everything and everyone in its path in a complete circular shape, like it just radiates in a circle out from them. And so if somebody is angry or upset, that is sweeping through everyone and across everything. But if someone is in a peaceful state, in a loving state, or a joyful state, that also is sweeping through everything and everyone. So that is one of the things that's important to us, too, within what we do, is to just do our best within what we create to help people get into a space where they're at least just feeling better, like feeling calmer or more uplifted, just something positive. Because if we can help people shift into a more positive space through whatever it is that each of us do, because I believe we all have our own strong talents. Like, us here, we're all musical, but there's other people that do other things as well. And I believe that we all have that potential if we follow what it is that our purpose is and really find our purpose and resonate with it and live into it fully. And if we come at it from that positive intention, then I believe that we can make that type of positive difference for others in our respective ways. And that's where I feel like we really can make a difference toward shifting really what we're experiencing in this world.
I agree. I really do agree. And I have heard about the measurement aspect that you mentioned about the feelings, right, in the world, how, happiness propagates happiness, and, peace propagates peace, negativity propagates negativity, right? So I have actually heard about that measurement and philosophy previously. So I think it's very important that we have people like the two of you and your collaborators that are putting out positive music into the world and driving some positive influence in a lot of negativity that we have. We all know it's there, unfortunately, right? So I think it's wonderful when we have something as positive as this, and it definitely is a very positive, uplifting, wonderful song. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
Can either of you talk about any more exciting projects that maybe you might be currently working on? Any additional collaborations that are in the works? Any solo projects? And how potentially they might be pushing the boundaries of your creative journey?
It's actually funny that you're mentioning that, because I am working on a collaboration now. It's a pretty big collaboration. There's 7 of us involved, and Catherine Shipley and I had been talking like a couple of months ago about working together and doing something, and she had wanted to work with me. I had wanted to work with her, and we were just like, all right, let's do this. Let's put something together. And through a series of back and forth, we came to the Poison song, Stand. So then, like, immediately I was having so many ideas, and then Catherine reached out to Lee, and then just coming off of the collaboration with Dimitri and Holly and Nita, I was like hearing like their voices just, again, everybody's just complimenting each other. And then at that point, I was also thinking about Frank Fasano, who we had worked with last year with Nita on Time to Say Goodbye, and I was like, why not? Let's throw in some opera amongst everything. And it's just absolutely stunning. It's really absolutely stunning. We're in post-production now and just finishing up some of the editing before sending to Justine to mix it. But it's totally outrageous. And, like, I could hear the parts in my head, but it's just another thing hearing it coming out the speakers. And
yeah.
I'm so happy I didn't have to wait 10 years for this.
I know, right?
Oh, that's awesome. I'm sure we're all going to be looking forward to that one. And, yeah, a Poison song. So I think that's wicked cool because, you know, rocker chick that I am, right? I'll definitely want to hear that one. So awesome. Well, great. Do you have an estimated time when that's going to be released?
It's going to be released mid-November.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we will look for that. All right. Well, before we sign off and before we run out of time, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners? I know, Phil, you have your own website. Holly, do you have a website or social media that you would like to direct people to? Does Sacred Circles have a Instagram account or a website?
Yeah, Sacred Circles does have a page, and they can also visit my Facebook page. I don't currently have my own website, but I might build one in the near future. But that's not going to be helpful right now. So people can certainly look at Facebook for Sacred Circles or me, and then Phil. Yeah, Phil has his website. And well, you know what I'd like to share with people is just to don't discount those glimmers of feelings. If there's something that you feel like you want to do, that really might be your purpose if you're not clear on your purpose, or it might lead you to it, or it might be a part of it, or just following it right now might make you feel joyful, which might also open you up to receive more intuitions about what you would really ultimately move into that not only would make you very happy within working with it, but it would allow you then to make a positive difference for other people. And there's nothing more joyful than working within your purpose, but that doesn't mean that you don't work hard or that you're not tired or that it's just a day at the park and a party all the time. It isn't. But it's satisfying. It's like we work very hard and we're tired, but it's very satisfying, and that does feel different than when you're grueling at a job that you know isn't right for you, but you're kind of just there because you just don't know what else to do or whatever. And so I just wanted to impart that, I suppose, to do my best to encourage other people to, to really tune in and to follow that inspiration, because I believe that is either guided by your own soul or spirit or higher self or God, however you want to look at that. And that's what I believe. And so that's what I'd like to say to people.
Well, that is absolutely awesome. Phil, is there anything you would like to add?
I don't know what to say after that. I think that pretty much sums it up what Holly said.
All right. Well, we'll just leave it at that. So I'd like to thank my wonderful guests, vocalist Holly Fischer and composer Phil Kanakis, otherwise known as Sacred Circles, for taking the time to chat with me today. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Mixin' It. On behalf of all of us here at SIMRADIO, this is Nicki Kris. Until next time, keep on mixing it.